All right, welcome to the Ironwood Gym. Today I'm going to talk about something that might cause some people to turn the video off as soon as it comes on, but that's okay. All right, weightlifting and box squats. Weightlifting as a sport, okay, not just going to the gym. This is actually the sport of weightlifting, and that's what you see in the Olympics, and it consists of the snatch and the clean and jerk, two different events. So, full disclosure here, I have never competed in weightlifting. It is something that I wanted to do, and due to different circumstances, never got the opportunity to do it, and never, I guess, put out enough effort to get to that point. So I stuck to powerlifting. Also, I have never trained a weightlifter. Okay, I have trained the weightlifting movements. I have coached the weightlifting movements from college level athletes to people that just like to do those movements. And I have helped people improve those movements over the years. So in this video, what I want to cover is how to utilize the box squat for weightlifting. And when I'm referring to the box squat, and this is why people won't like it, is because, or one of the reasons they won't like what I'm saying here, is because when I'm referring to the box squat, I'm referring to a wide stance, pushing your hips back, so you're going to have more of a forward torso lean, and also vertical shin angles. Okay, those things are all not really seen in the sport of weightlifting. There's a reason I would still have weightlifters perform box squats, and we're going to get into that. Okay, so for the sport of weightlifting, okay, typically you see what the lifters do is everything is super highly correlated to the sport of weightlifting, meaning that everything, they try to tie it in, every exercise they do or everything how they train is super tied into the actual competitive movements, and with good reason they are doing those things. Okay, the sport of weightlifting is highly technical, so they need to have that technique constantly ingrained into their body, so they have the proper motor patterns that they are performing the movements with. So how would I structure it so you could utilize box squats effectively, and how would box squats benefit the weightlifter? For how I would set it up is I would use a block model, okay, and I'd probably utilize this for anyone past that beginner stage. Once they get into the intermediate stage, and definitely advanced lifters, this is how I would structure their training. Okay, it's not the only way, but it is how I would do it. I would utilize a block model, and I'm not going to get into block periodization here. It is a block model. Most people screw this up. Okay, it is highly screwed up. It seems like every time I hear someone talking about it, they are getting it wrong. Just go read the book. Read the book, Block Periodization by Vladimir Isrin. And there's more information out there than that. It was in Super Training. It was in Science and Practice by Vladimir Zatsiorsky. The information is out there. So why it gets so screwed up, I don't know. But this is how I would apply it. I would have 3 basic blocks of training leading up to a competition. Block 1, Block 2, Block 3. Above this line are the things that I'm really trying to target. Those are the things that those are my stimulating loads. Those are what are going to be the focus of each block. Below this line are my retaining loads. They are the loads that I'm still going to train them, but not at a level that would really cause me to improve in those abilities. Okay, so I still need to train them. I need to keep those things in my training, or else I'm going to lose them. But I don't necessarily need to have them at the top of my training priorities all the time. Below this bottom line are things that are going to detrain. Okay, so those are the things that I don't really care about, or that, maybe I hit certain things very early on, but I can let those go later on due to how long that they're going to last after I stop training them. Or maybe it's a health thing that I'm putting it in there to keep my body healthy, and it can fall off because I'm going to bring it back in after the competition. Okay. That's as far as I'm going to get into the basic block periodization. And we're going to move into how we're going to fit box squats in there. So this basic 3 blocks. My first block, okay, I'm going to focus on things that really aren't highly correlated to my competition snatch and my competition clean and jerk. Okay, I'm going to focus on the abilities that I need for those, but aren't going to directly make improvements in those events. So I'm going to hit my max strength here. This is going to be max strength that's not tied into a maximal clean. Okay, hypertrophy. Yes, weightlifters do need hypertrophy training. It will help increase cross-section area, which will help further increase maximal strength and maximal power. So those are going to be done very early on. My power and my speed at that point, I can kind of let go. Yes, I do need to keep them in training. Absolutely have to have speed in your training pretty much all the time as a weightlifter, and power and speed go together in that sense. It's just a matter of what level I'm going to train them at. And also technical ability needs to be performed throughout this entire thing. Technical ability is extremely important for weightlifting, so I need to have it in there, but it's going to fall down in this retaining loads. I'm not going to be necessarily trying to have the absolute best technical form this far out from competition. As I get closer to competition and I move into a new block, I am now going to focus on max strength, but I'm going to focus on maximal strength that is more correlated to my competition events. So a front squat or an overhead squat would be very beneficial in this block. You could even put a back squat in there, but the back squat is not as highly correlated to the lifts as a front squat or an overhead squat. I also want to really start training my power. So in this block, I'm going to start picking up those movements. My power clean would fit excellent in here. My power snatch would fit excellent into this block. But my hypertrophy now is going to come down. Okay, I'm not going to focus as much on building my muscle, but I need to retain that. Okay, I have to keep it in there at this point because it's too far away just to let it go. As I move very close to competition, now I'm going to focus on competitive form. My actual competitive form of my clean and jerk, my actual competitive form of my snatch. Max power means I'm going to be pushing those competitive lifts very hard. I'm going to be up 95% plus in my snatch, 95% plus in my clean and jerk, and utilizing competition technique. My max strength still needs to be trained, but probably not at the same intensity. I can probably drop it down some. You can keep your max strength for about 30 days after you stop training it. So it needs to move down into the next block. I do need to keep hitting some of those movements. I need to keep my strength up high, but it doesn't need to be at the forefront of my training. Okay, so where do box squats fit into this? Again, box squats with a wide stance, sitting my hips back, vertical shin angles. Not really looking like anything you would see in a clean or a snatch. Down here, okay? And it would be one of the focuses of my training in this first block, right in here, okay? Why? Why would I put the box squat in when it doesn't mimic the technique of a clean or a snatch? One, I want to get away from some of that, doing the exact same thing all the time. You really don't want to do that in any sport. You want to have periods of time where you get away from doing the exact same thing all the time so that your body can recover and not put too much stress on those joints, on those muscle groups. In order to do that, you need to train those things in a different way. Okay, you need to train the same muscle groups, the same joints, but not in the same movements, not in the exact same movement pattern. That will give your body a break from that stress. Okay, so you don't want to do the exact same thing all the time, because eventually you're going to stop making progress. Eventually you're going to break down. Okay, your body's going to break down, your joints are going to break down. You need to have variation in your training. Does that saying you shouldn't do cleans in some way throughout this period? No, it's not saying that. But we probably don't need to be doing maximal full squat cleans that you're doing here, here, and here. Okay, there needs to be a time where you get away from doing that. Your body will respond better if you vary the training, okay, for certain periods of time and get away from hitting the joints always the exact same way. Doing things always the exact same way could possibly lead to injury in the long run. Okay, it could lead to a shortened career. It could lead to stagnation in your training, where you're not making as much progress. Your training stagnates, and essentially your body is accommodating, your nervous system is accommodating, everything is accommodating to the same stimulus all the time. You need to vary that stimulus. Box squats are an excellent way to do that for weightlifters because they're still going to allow you to strengthen the posterior chain to a very high degree. Your hamstrings, your glutes, your low back, all very important in weightlifting. And the box squat can do that. And it's going to do it through a different motor pattern. But then as you progress in blocks, as you progress to the next block, now you can start training your body to utilize the strength in the way that you want to utilize it for the sport of weightlifting. So again, it's a theoretical model. I have not utilized this exact model with any weightlifter or with anyone that I have trained, but these are the types of things that I like to think about. If you have any comments, any feedback on this, please leave it down below. I'd like to hear what you have to say, but until next time, always be in the pursuit of strength.